journalists, workers, and politicians stood firm against detention, against torture, against exile, and even death, so that Kenya could break and breathe again. This generation of courage produced towering figures whose sacrifice expanded the democratic space we enjoy today. Foremost among them was the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga, a stalwart of our country's democratic journey, who left us just under 2 months ago. Raila devoted his life to the pursuit of freedom, justice, and peaceful coexistence. His courage, resilience, and unwavering belief in the power of the people shaped defining chapters of our national story and inspired generations to believe that change is possible. I now respectfully urge all of us to join me in observing a 1 minute of silence in honor and remembrance of the Honorable Raila Odinga and honor his sacrifice, service, and enduring legacy. Tafadhali nawaomba tusimame kwa dakika moja kwa heshima ya kiongozi wetu Raila Odinga. Asanteni sana. Asanteni sana. May his spirit continue to guide our nation forward. His resolve, as well as the resolve of our forefathers, gave us the 2010 Constitution, a charter that restored the sovereignty of the people, restrained imperial power, entrenched rights, and devolved government and authority to the grassroots. But it promised something even greater. It guaranteed economic and social justice. It declared that health, housing, food, water, education, and social security were not favors. They were fundamental rights. It was a bold promise. It was a moral imperative. It was the unfinished dream of both the independence and subsequent generations. Yet today, with honesty and humility, we must admit that this promise remains incomplete. Yes, progress has been made, but the deeper promise, a Kenya where every citizen lives with dignity and shared prosperity, remains unfulfilled. For too long, stagnation has returned in cycles. Negativity has been normalized, and too many have been asked to make peace with mediocrity. That is why, before the last election, we had already realized that although we had achieved political independence and our constitution expanded our democratic, human rights, and the rule of law, we still had not fully consolidated our nation. These two milestones, great as they were, had over time been undermined by the paradox of the marginalization of the majority. We saw clearly a system in which a few rose to the top of the pyramid, while millions at the base struggled to survive. With education outcomes compromised, healthcare beyond reach, access to affordable credit denied, housing unattainable, and farmers abandoned while our youth were locked out. That is the reason we introduced the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, to bring the marginalized majority back into the heart of our nation, to ensure that no one is left behind, and to begin the work of social engineering necessary to pursue the broader dream of economic freedom. We had to begin where marginalization and exclusion had been greatest, that is at the bottom. And so, over the last 3 years, we have made bold choices. They have delivered results that are unprecedented, unmistakable, and consequential. For years, we spoke of agriculture as the bedrock of our economy and farmers as our pillars. But the truth is, we did not truly know them, and neither did we truly prioritize them. Today we do. For the first time in our history, over 7.2 million farmers have been brought into the single national digital database. We now know who they are, where they are, what they grow, and what they need. And with that knowledge came the power, not for brokers, not for cartels, but for the farmer. This digital platform became and is the backbone of targeted support, including subsidized inputs, affordable credit, and modern extension services reaching real farmers directly. We lowered the cost of production. We brought the price of fertilizer down. And in so doing, we restored profitability to the smallholder farmer who produces over 70% of our food. Fellow citizens, the results are undeniable. Maize production is up. Prices of flour is down. The tea sector is rising. Coffee is rebounding. Dairy is expanding. And the sugar industry has been revamped. By strengthening value chains, cooperatives, irrigation, and processing, we have built systems that work for our agricultural sector. And now, with millions of farmers no longer forgotten, we are ready to walk with them to the next chapter of economic freedom. 3 years ago, education was in distress. Classrooms were overcrowded. Many universities were technically insolvent, and teachers were overwhelmed. Today, we have hired 76,000 teachers, and by next month, a total of 100,000 teachers, the largest recruitment of teachers in Kenya's history. We have built 23,000 new classrooms, and 1,600 laboratories are under construction across the nation. Importantly, through the student-centered funding model, we placed the learner at the heart of our reforms. For the first time in our history, scholarships and loans now follow need and merit, ensuring that every deserving student has a chance and a just and equal opportunity to pursue their dreams. Nearly 500,000 students have already benefited from this funding model, Students who under previous systems would have been excluded by policies that failed to recognize them. This reform has lifted the financial burden from families and enabled students to choose courses that align with their talents, with their aspirations, and with the needs of our nation. Our healthcare, we have another irrevocable decision that no Kenyan should be too poor to live. For decades, universal health care was spoken of, but in our time, it is being actualized. We engaged 110,000 community health promoters who are now reaching millions who were once excluded, forgotten, and without access to health care. CHPs have already visited over 9 million households, screening millions of Kenyans for various ailments, including diabetes and hypertension. At the same time, we built a unified health information system that now gives us full visibility of our health facilities, patients, their progress, enabling us to track healthcare delivery in real time. Today, over 28 million Kenyans are registered under the Social Health Authority, up from 8 million under the old system. That means 19 million Kenyans who were once forgotten are now in the healthcare equation. Among them are 2.3 million vulnerable Kenyans, orphans, widows, and the elderly, whose healthcare is now fully paid by the government of Kenya. Healthcare was never meant to be a privilege. It is a constitutional right. And with the realization of this right, we are ready to work with all Kenyans into the next chapter of economic freedom. For the millions of Kenyans without employment, we moved beyond diagnosing the job crisis to deliberately creating opportunities through the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. For decades, housing, while being a constitutional right, was promised but never delivered. Housing is not just about shelter. It is collateral. It is graded worthiness. It is stability. And it is the first step out of poverty. In just 3 years, through our housing program, over 240,000 affordable homes, hostels for 180,000 students, 30,000 institutional housing for our military, police, and prison officers, and over 400 new markets for our traders are under construction across all our 47 counties. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the largest public infrastructure transformation ever undertaken, not just in Kenya, but also in our region. So far, standing at an investment of 650 billion. Through this program, more than 480,000 Kenyans have secured jobs and enterprise opportunities across 300 active sites, from artisans to technicians to engineers and architects, shaping a new skyline in Kenya. We have ring-fenced billions of shillings for the Juakali sector, fully integrating their long-neglected engine of craftsmanship into the national construction value chain. Today, Juakali artisans supply doors, windows, fittings, furniture, and fabricated material to projects in our affordable housing program across Kenya. In the digital and creative economy, we have trained 2 million Kenyans in digital skills, and nearly 300,000 are already earning income. Through the Kazi Maju program, nearly 500,000 Kenyans have secured well-paying job opportunities abroad in the last 3 years. We have also launched the Kenya shillings 20 billion Nyota program to support 820,000 young people with training, with mentorship, certification, and business capital. The first phase is complete, with 12,500 beneficiaries already receiving their first business support, and the national program is now being rolled out across the country. Together, these actions reflect one clear national purpose: to open doors of opportunity for our youth, equip them to succeed, and empower Kenya's greatest strength, our young people, to lead us towards prosperity and economic sovereignty. As more students live in decent accommodation, as more traders conduct their business in dignified settings, and as more public servants get access to housing, we are fulfilling our constitutional mandate. And with that foundation secured, we are ready to walk with all our people into the next chapter of economic freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, through the bottom-up economic transformation plan, we have consolidated the gains of political independence and the democratic freedoms won. Through deliberate